Right, this is the end of Skaven turn 4. Essentially, I've conceded. I lost the game. Basically, Skaven in general with a weeping blade, right? He should be carving through them. In my hands, he whiffed like 3-year-old cheddar cheese, man, reeking. Essentially, I think what turned the game around, because I was doing pretty well up until Ollie got that irresistible force to res back this unit of knights here. I mean, basically without that, I'd shut his magic phase down. I was totally dominating it. I would have been chewing through. I would have got rid of the whole unit of that and probably ripped Manfred up before Manfred finally killed that Doom Wheel. And then basically he would have been getting picked off ASAP. I would have just thrown everything I had into killing him, and there would have been nothing left, in theory. But yeah, it was just sort of the way the dice rolled. I got some luck, and Ollie got better luck, which is a given in our games. But it was nicely played, because as soon as I overran into that unit, and the Doom Wheel was gone, I knew I'd lost. Because without that hammer unit, without the Plague Monks basically had to chew their way through. I reckon I could have, if he'd lost Manfred, I could have easily afforded to have lost the Plague Monks and rounded up the rest of his units. I could have even probably avoided the Tomb Guard until the end. But yeah, it was just a little bit of luck at the right time. It sort of swung it right round, because I had him quite nicely on the back foot. I got really lucky magic phase in my first turn. I really hit a lot of his units. I destroyed his big sort of tanking unit of zombies. I think if these guys had died quicker, and I'd been able to bring these into the fight, I could have just left the Vargolf to it and sort of brought these guys in and would have finished the combat, sort of ripping all that lot to pieces. And then that would have done it. But basically the inability to kill that pissing corpse cart, which is just so violently annoying. I mean, it's just the story of my life with Skaven is that I get so close.
You spent the whole game shooting at it, didn't you, really?
Yeah.
With those cannons. And as we already know, those cannons are shit.
They shouldn't be. They should, in theory, be one of the best cannons in the game. But yeah, in my hands, they're not. But yeah, it was a good game. It kind of shows that the Skaven can really kind of bring it to the vampire counts. If things go all right. I was a bit gutted losing my right flank on my first turn without having done anything. But even then, I did pretty well without it. I mean, if I'd got 2 Doom Wheels into Manfred's unit, then yeah, that would have been bye-bye straight off the bat. But yeah, that's the way the cookie crumbles. And these poor dogs didn't get a chance to nom my Warp Lightning Cannon.
Small game to get around there.
Yeah, but yeah, it was alright. The funniest bit of the match was these guys beating the remainder of the chaff in close combat. I mean, this is probably one of the only games where literally everything in my army that could have shot has sort of remained until the end of the game. Admittedly, obviously, I would have probably lost these guys, and then I would have lost that, but it was still interesting. Yeah, I mean, the army is pretty much, I think, as tuned as it can possibly get without going ultra stupidly dirty and taking another hell bit. But that's just sort of
the only thing
pointless.
Your army needs is some new dice.
Yeah, because the army performs really well. I mean, I think everything performed excellently. With the exception of maybe my general and my BSB, who stank against that cast. The bloody Skaven chieftain couldn't even gank a pathetic fucking unit champion.
Yeah, over 2 rounds of combat.
It was utterly terrible. he'll be getting ganked by the Gracie, I think. The Gracie, as usual, did really well. I was stupid forgetting the Doom Rocket. I think if I'd got the Doom Rocket off,
you could have finished off that unit of skeletons.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit also I was fortunate because if I'd actually done it the way I was supposed to do it, the Doom Rocket would have fled the battlefield in the other unit of Skaven Slaves. Because normally I would have had the caster with the Death Globe and the Doom Rocket guy on the other side. Because obviously a Doom Rocket and a caster is a meaty combo that Ollie's going to be wanting to take out ASAP. Although if I'd spread it across sort of two guys, it would have made it a bit more difficult for him to get at them both. But such is life. It was a great game though, and we'll go over to Ollie and see what he thinks.
Righto, so it was another victory, although it was pretty close for the whole game, I think. My first turn was awesome, then Si's first turn was also awesome. I think he did more damage to me than I did to him in the first turn. My list is essentially the same as the last one, though with the addition of Manfred. To be honest, I don't think I'd take him again. Although he has a lot of spells and that, you never get to cast a lot of them because they'll either be out of range or you really want him to be in combat just because he's got some combat ability. So I don't think I'll be taking him again. Although he did pretty well though, he carved up some people, but then it's probably better to just take a vanilla Vampire Lord who can do it a lot better. So nice to try him though. So let's look at the units. I mean, the Grave Guards, they didn't really do a lot, but they were just in the right position. Skeletons pretty much performed how you expect. The Knights did pretty terrible against that Doom Wheel, but I don't think that's a testament to how bad Knights are. It's just how lucky Doom Wheels are, which is long overdue, I think, for those Doom Wheels.
Oh, yes.
Well, not that one. It died in the first turn, but that's pretty customary to have a Doom Wheel die in the first turn. So it's just he expects that now. So Spirit Hosts got owned by Warp Spikes, whatever it's called for these guys.
Yeah.
So, but fair enough. These guys, I thought they were going to die last turn, but by some miracle actually managed to kill his general with them, which probably was the defining factor in the game. It's not what turned the game, but that's definitely gave me a points advantage because I thought I was losing 228, but instead I gained however much his general was worth.
About 100.
Yeah, so the Volgoth did amazing, like killing that guy, really punishing him for not using his Doom Rocket, which was nice. The Hound's over there, tried to outflank, nearly made it. But yeah, so the Ghouls did pretty well. They took off 5 wounds on this guy. They still ultimately lost, but that's not a problem. The Ghast was awesome, held up his BSB for 2 rounds of combat, but he only died in the end through combat resolution. Just lots of invocation spamming won the day, so pretty good. So yeah, I really don't think you need the whole Law of Death and the whole Law of Vampires with Manfred. It's just a bit of a waste, really.
I think, like you say, a sufficiently young, I'd say a Vampire Lord, nicely geared for a bit of close combat.
Yeah, and like a Master Necromancer, just to spam the spells.
Yeah, and because certainly that unit would be great with him because the vampires are casters anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
So he still gets his invocation of Nehek that he can like bring the unit back on his own.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can also dish it out a lot better than...
The main reason I took Manfred, though, it wasn't because I thought that there was something wrong with Vampire Lords. I just wanted to take a Vampire Lord build that I couldn't optimise in my head. Because I'm so... every time I take something, I just end up looking for the most efficient build and taking it that way. And I just wanted to take something a little less powerful. But I really don't think it's worth it.
He's very expensive.
Yeah, he's a lot of points just for some... You've got loads of spells, but you're not really going to get to use them. I'm a big fan of, if you're using an army with its own law, you should use the own law, unless they're Wood Elves, of course. Because as we all know, the law of Athol Lauren is... Well, awful Lauren is terrible. So, but yeah, other than Wood Elves, everyone else should use the law that comes with their army and really embrace what the army's about rather than using random laws. obviously with the exception of like Empire, who have all the laws anyway. But yeah, so Law of Death is alright in theory, but I'd rather use Law of Vampires. Although I might use... Anyway, that's another story. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with how the army performed. I didn't think it was going very well up until I charged everything into this, and that's mainly down to killing that Doom Wheel at long last. I don't know what the odds are on me killing it before then, but it basically held up like a 900 point unit by itself for like 3 turns, so you've got to be proud of it, really.
Damn right I was.
And it must have killed like 15 Black Knights.
Yeah, it did kill quite a few.
So yeah, I'm pretty happy. I really enjoyed the game. We're actually going to total up the points values, even though Silas conceded at this point, which I think is fair enough. I think he definitely would have lost that unit, and due to the misposition of this, I don't think he would have made much of a comeback. Plus, we're running out of time anyway, so I've got to go to work soon. So yeah, so we'll see. We'll total those up, and we'll get back to you in a second. Okay, so we totaled up the points, assuming that died, just as a kind of, just to predict what happened next turn. Si managed to score 715 points.
And I got 1,464.
Yeah, which is quite a difference. So, how many points is that worth?
That's 570, that whole unit.
Oh, right, okay. So, there probably would have been a draw if I hadn't killed that.
Mm.
But it was, there was 2 turns left, so
it was gone.
4 rounds of combat.
All you would have had to have done was kill the plague furnace, and then they wouldn't have been unbreakable, and then that would have been.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It only had 1 wound left.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that was going to die, and well, that was it. So, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed it. We're actually going to take a look at the 40k new rulebook. We're not by any means giving up fantasy or anything, but we used to play 40k, so we've got some 40k armies as well. So we'll see what next week's battle report will be. But hopefully it'll be fantasy. We don't know. We'll see what the 40k book's like first. I think Si's got the urge to splurge, so we'll find out. So see you next week with a battle report of some sort. But it certainly won't be War Machine, so don't worry.
Oh, God, no.